Metro News Hotline.
Let's bring Abrar Al-Heeti into this conversation. Would you like to weigh in on this cookie debate?
I would, because this is the most important question I think anyone's ever been asked.
Thank you.
Oreos are my Achilles heel, and I actually try to ban myself from keeping them in my household, because if I do, I will eat all of them. Unfortunately, they tend to bring them into the office, and then sometimes I sneak some home, so I've cheated and broken my own rules, but they're so good.
They are pretty good. Hey, you didn't send me this story, but I wanted to get your take on it because we talk about tech news. Did you see this? You remember how much grief Netflix got over trying to stop the sharing of passwords? So right. HBO Max is going to do the same thing. And this story,
I was worried.
This story came out yesterday, and it's basically getting no traction at all. So they say that they are going to narrow down on users who share their account passwords with others later this year, with a full rollout in 2025. So this was a situation where all of these streaming services basically let Netflix take one for the team, and now they're all just following suit.
And, it's not surprising, because we all kind of knew that whatever Netflix does, everyone else will follow. And we've seen Disney start to crack down on password sharing. That's going to start soon. It was only a matter of time before HBO Max did. And I'm really bummed about this, because that is an account that I steal from my brother. So I am really bummed about that. And it's so true that Netflix really sets the precedent for what everybody else does.
Yeah. When Netflix raised prices, they were the first one. They sort of stuck their head out of the hole and looked around and said, okay, well, we're going to raise prices. And then the game was up. Everybody else followed suit.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And we're all also, I think a lot of us are in a position where we're trying to scale back on the amount of subscriptions we have. And these subscriptions are not giving us a choice, where if you want to keep watching your show, you better pay up.
All right. Well, on that happy note, let's talk about higher prices coming our way for Verizon phones.
Yeah, this is something that I just got my Verizon bill, and it does reflect the new higher prices. So for a lot of the older unlimited plans, anything from honestly just a couple years ago, you're going to start seeing your phone bill go up by about $4, which doesn't sound crazy. But again, if you're already paying for so many things, that monthly increase, you feel it. So what they're trying to do really here is push people towards their newer unlimited plans. And what those are, the older unlimited plans are the ones where you would get like a free Disney Plus bundle or free Apple One. The newer plans are more scaled back. You don't get those free bundles. You have to pay to get them. You get them at a discount, but any perks that you want, you actually have to pay for. So what they're doing is they're increasing the prices to try to push you into the cheaper options, but the cheaper options have less perks. Yeah.
So here's Verizon. They're raising prices. And understandably, they're making their move after AT&T upped the price of their prices on their unlimited plan by 99 cents per line. T-Mobile also, according to the story, says, they're going to be raising prices on their home internet service. It all happens at once.
It all happens at once. When it rains, it pours, and we all just want a break. And I don't think it's coming anytime soon, unfortunately. Prices are just rising across pretty much any subscription, any monthly plan you have.
Let's talk a little bit about TikTok. I mean, how serious, we don't get into politics on this show. I try to avoid it like the plague, but it seems like push is coming to, we're coming to a head with the TikTok.
We are, and we've been here before, right? So there's this bipartisan bill in Congress to try to get ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok, to either divest the app within 6 months or have it essentially be banned in the U.S. And this has happened across presidencies, across, Republicans and Democrats have both kind of tried to vouch for this. It hasn't made any headway in the past. There have been attempts to limit TikTok because of national security concerns. It never really goes anywhere. And so I'm hesitant to say that, we should be worried this time. It's really hard to tell. It kind of feels like the boy who cried wolf at this point. So we'll see. We'll see if this amounts to anything this time around.
Coop, if TikTok went away, would you miss it? What do you think?
Missing it is a strong word, but it is the only social media platform that I really spend any time on anymore because I don't interact with anything and my algorithm just surfaces like sports and funny stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, I can watch it and I don't go down the dark side or any of the crazy stuff or anything like that. But I think generally I would miss it. I think the algorithm has me tagged pretty well for what I want it for right now, and I kind of enjoy it.
Abrar, what about you? I mean, if TikTok went away, and personally I don't think it's going to, would you miss it?
Yeah. I would have very serious withdrawal symptoms because I'm a little too addicted to it. It would be the best thing that ever happened to me and the worst thing simultaneously. But I also am not necessarily concerned that it's going to happen. I think it just has such a wide impact. I mean, Joe Biden's presidential reelection campaign is on TikTok. And so I highly doubt that they are going to push for, the removal. What it illustrates is everyone relies on TikTok in some way, not everybody, but a lot of people who are trying to get a message across to a lot of people rely on TikTok.
Hey, I've got to ask you this also. What is it like in the CNET offices when there's a Facebook or Instagram outage? What?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
What is that like at your place of business?
Yeah, everybody hops in the Slack channel and basically says Instagram is down or whatever site is down, and then somebody will hop on it and write something up. But it's funny because someone always picks up on it, and then like 5 other people will come in and say, I was just about to say the same thing, because we're all just chronically online.
I just think it's really interesting. We had some stories here locally where when Facebook went down, some local residents were calling like city government. Like they think that the city government here in Charleston runs the Facebook.
And it's funny because, it's just like, and that just illustrates how big of a deal it is, but also how people might not think about where it all comes from. But a lot of people were concerned about being hacked. A lot of people were concerned about there actually being, a security threat. So that is really interesting and somehow not surprising at the same time.
One sign though that the market is maturing is when this happened yesterday, there was, some of the high-flying tech stocks, with the exception of NVIDIA, have been going down, and then they went down yesterday. But you would think that Meta would have been hit by a big loss. Investors didn't want to be out of it. We're kind of used to this kind of stuff by now in terms of the financial markets.
Exactly. We're used to it. We just had the AT&T outage recently. The last time Meta had a really big outage was back in 2021. And that one lasted for about 6 hours. And that was a bigger deal. This one, they were able to get their feet back on the ground within about 2 hours. So it was less of a significant impact. But I think that paired with the fact that, yes, we are used to it is the reason why we saw that.
And finally, let's talk a little bit about this Google Pixel. Is now going to let you share your photos and videos to Instagram. The circle to search feature is coming to Pixel phones. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Circle to search feature is really cool. So what this does is if you see an image or a video and there's a product or a landscape that you want to just learn more about, you hold down the home button on your Pixel phone or on your Samsung Galaxy S24. And then after you do that, you basically can draw a circle around that object, and there will automatically be this list from Google search that tells you what that is, where to find more information. It's really cool. So think of it as like a reverse image search. So instead of you describing what something looks like, you just draw a circle around it. Google will tell you all the information about that product or, that location or anything you want to know.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. That's a really interesting feature. All right. Well, our question of the day, we've been getting a ton of comments about Oreo cookies. Which one are you the kind of person that just goes for the classic, or, we learned in the 3:00 hour that Coop is kind of partial to the toffee ones.
Oh my God, I have not even come across those, but I will now go on a serious hunt for those because that sounds amazing. I've always just been double stuff.
Yeah, I hear you there on the double stuff. And Ryan would tell you that it has the perfect cream to cookie ratio. But I'm telling you, those toffee ones, they have like little crystals of toffee in them. And so they like kind of crackle a little bit when you, oh man, they're so good.
Oh my God. I did not need to know that, but thank you so much.
Hey, Abrar, have a good day. And I'm sorry if I brought up the topic of cookies.
I'll forgive you. It makes me happy.
All right. Abrar Al-Heeti from CNET. We always talk about the biggest stories in technology over the last 7 days, every Wednesday at the top of the 4:00 hour.
Metro News Hotline.